As he continues to deal with the aftermath of his disastrous response to the humanitarian crisis in Puerto Rico, President Trump is now also dealing with an internal crisis, a simmering feud with his Secretary of State. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. After his tour of Puerto Rico, where he chided Puerto Ricans for throwing the budget out of whack and tossed paper towels into the crowd like he was at the free throw line, Trump did what he always does, bragged about his performance and made up a bizarre and completely unnecessary lie about how unprecedented his trip was. He told reporters on Air Force One, "I think it meant a lot to the people of Puerto Rico that I was there. They really responded very nicely. And I guess it's one of the few times anybody has done this. From what I am hearing, it's the first time that a sitting president has done something like this." You think this is the first time a sitting president has visited hurricane victims? This isn't even the first time you've done it. You were just in Texas and Florida a few weeks ago. Remember? Oh no, you don't remember, do you? This is turning into 51st dates, but for hurricanes. In a way, though, Trump is right. This is the first time a sitting president has embarrassed himself this much while trying to comfort the victims of a natural disaster. For example, after he threw supplies at hurricane victims, the crowd literally had to tell him to stop. According to the Washington Post, Trump passed out yellow bags of rice and then started tossing rolls of towels into the crowd. The crowd laughed and cheered him on. When he contemplated doing the same with the cans of chicken, the crowd gently told him no. Oh my God. Our president had to be told not to throw cans of chicken at hurricane victims. I wouldn't be surprised if he only built Trump Towers so he could drop pennies off the roof. But of all Trump's missteps in Puerto Rico, there's one that is perhaps the most embarrassing and also the most revealing. At the church where supplies were being handed out, he encountered a church member giving out water purification tablets. Basically, these tablets turn dirty water into clean drinking water. And not only could Trump not believe it worked, he couldn't believe they were giving it away for free. Here's how that exchange went, according to the Post. "Wait," Trump said, "you put it in dirty water, and then you can drink it after 10 to 12 hours, she explained. "Would you do it? Would you drink it?" he asked. "Sure," she said. "Really?" Trump said, a disgusted look coming across his face. "Really," she said. "Is this your company or something?" Trump asked the woman, seeming suspicious of the aggressive pitch. "No," she said, "I'm part of the church." Trump genuinely cannot contemplate doing something out of the goodness of your heart. He just assumes it must be a scam. "So you give them the dirty water, but you say it's clean?" "No, it's clean." "Oh, so you clean the water, but then you sell it for double the price?" "No, we give it away for free." "Oh, I get it. So while they're drinking the water, you go around and steal all their wallets?" But this is yet another reminder to the evangelicals who support Trump. He doesn't understand church. What's Jesus' cut, 20%? That's very good. That's a lot of cans of chicken. But after embarrassing himself, insulting the people of Puerto Rico, and repeatedly bringing up the financial cost of the recovery, Trump, out of nowhere, seemed to throw Puerto Rico a potential lifeline. Right now, the government of Puerto Rico is dealing with an economic crisis and billions of dollars in debt, bought up by hedge funds and other Wall Street firms who have blocked any attempt to allow Puerto Rico to restructure its debt or declare bankruptcy. But as Trump was leaving the island on Tuesday, he seemed to suggest he might support forgiving Puerto Rico's debt completely.
We're going to work something out. We have to look at their whole debt structure. You know, they owe a lot of money to your friends on Wall Street, and we're going to have to wipe that out. That's going to have to be, you know, you can say goodbye to that. I don't know if it's Goldman Sachs, but whoever it is, you can wave goodbye to that.
Well, that'll be easy. I've been waving goodbye to things since you became president. Bye, Constitution. Bye, good night's sleep. Bye, half the people I know on Facebook. But forgiving Puerto Rico's debt would be a truly transformative step that would go a long way to alleviating the suffering of Puerto Ricans and make up for many of Trump's missteps in handling the crisis. So naturally, his budget director, Mick Mulvaney, went on TV the next morning to tell people, don't listen to the president.
The president seemed to suggest that he is open to wiping out the Puerto Rican debt. Is that to be taken seriously on its face?
I wouldn't take it word for word with that.
Agreed. No one should ever take Trump word for word. It's far more fun to take his words and then put them in an order that you find interesting.
I have Wall Street friends. I have a lot of money. I have but hold. Goodbye.
Very proud of that. Of course, the president isn't content to botch just one crisis, which is why he's in the process of botching another, North Korea's nuclear program. The international community has been desperately pursuing every diplomatic angle to avoid what would certainly be a catastrophic war. And Trump's own government has been working with the UN Security Council, China, and even through back channels with North Korea itself to resolve the conflict peacefully. So once again, Trump threw all that out the window when he tweeted out of nowhere over the weekend, "I told Rex Tillerson, our wonderful Secretary of State, that he is wasting his time trying to negotiate with Little Rocket Man. Save your energy, Rex. We'll do what has to be done." So all the careful diplomacy and bargaining and angling just goes out the window with one tweet. It's like everyone is playing an intense game of Jenga, and Trump is the rambunctious golden retriever barging through the doggy door. Also, I wouldn't be too concerned that Rex Tillerson is expending a lot of energy. He looks like the guy sitting in a rocking chair outside the corner store who says, "Storms are coming, I can feel it in my knee." So Trump has once again undercut the diplomatic efforts of his Secretary of State, which has happened so many times that Tillerson apparently threatened to resign over the summer, according to a report yesterday from NBC News. But the fact that Tillerson threatened to resign is not the most damning part of this story. That, of course, had to do with what Tillerson called Trump behind his back.
At a meeting at the Pentagon with the president's national security team, there were cabinet officials, White House officials. The president attended. He left. The group was gathering. There were a number of people around, and the secretary called the president a moron.
Wow. And Tillerson has that great Texas accent, so you know he really stretched it out. That guy is a moron. Now, obviously, this story was based on anonymous sources, and the State Department denied it, which is why MSNBC did their own reporting on exactly what Tillerson said and issued an important clarification later that day.
My source didn't just say that he called him a moron. He said an effing moron.
This story keeps getting better and better. Seriously, I can't wait for the next update. Oh, here it is right here. Sources have further clarified that Tillerson called Trump a straight-up, nose-picking, mouth-breathing, missed-a-belt-loop moron. Tillerson, of course, was forced to issue a statement at a hastily arranged press conference yesterday where he took the extraordinary step of trying to assure the American people that the president is not, in fact, a moron.
Let me tell you what I've learned about this president, whom I did not know before taking this office. He loves his country. He puts Americans and America first. He's smart.
Man, to think a guy's a moron and then be forced to publicly say he's smart. I guess when your name is Rex, you're going to be good at rolling over. Good boy, Rex. Good boy. Oh, stay away from the Jenga. Now, yesterday, while he was in Las Vegas, Trump was asked about the Tillerson story and his comments afterwards. He could not stop himself from attacking the media. Watch as he keeps saying thank you as if to stop talking and then continues to ramble.
Yeah, I'm very honored by his comments. It was fake news. It was a totally phony story. Thank you very much. It was made up. It was made up by NBC. They just made it up. Thank you all. Thank you. Total confidence in Rex. I have total confidence. Thank you very much, everybody.
You could almost see the angel and devil on his shoulders wrestling for control. Say it was fake news. No, say thank you and leave. Call it a phony story. Walk away and don't throw chicken cans. Throw the chicken, throw it. No, throw the paper towels, but not the chicken. Throw the chicken, but wrap it in paper towels so they think it's soft. We're in a truly extraordinary situation where the president is fighting with his own Secretary of State as he faces multiple foreign policy challenges. In fact, cabinet officials are apparently now so concerned about the president's volatility that several of them have forged an agreement to quit if Trump tries to fire one of them. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, Defense Secretary Jim Mattis, and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin reportedly have forged a suicide pact in which all three members of President Trump's cabinet would leave if one of them became a target of the president. Jesus, so three cabinet officials have to band together to deal with their out-of-control boss. They're treating him like he's Dabney Coleman in 9 to 5. And before you say that was a dated reference, they were all at the Emmys. So this is the situation we're in. Cabinet officials are forming suicide pacts to protect each other from the president. The president is volatile, unstable, incompetent. In other words,
A moron.
no, that's not it.
An effing moron.
Yeah, that's it. This has been a closer look.